Alright, gonna do another review here. So, this is a classic that I just had never really got around to seeing for one reason or another. The 1983 48 Hours. And, of course, Eddie Murphy, Nick Nolte movie. It's directed by Walter Hill, who I really like. He did The Warriors and Streets of Fire, which I just watched not too long ago. And he had a little more unsuccessful movie that I watched, Wild Bill, but still a good director. So he directed it and wrote some of it. And a lot of people know this, probably get it confused all the time with Beverly Hills Cop. It's a very similar premise, and I guess I'll get into that later though. So yeah, story. Reggie Hammond is okay. No, let me start over. Nick Nolte plays Jack Cates, and he's a cop. Pretty scruffy cop, hard nosed cop, as you might say. And they get into the middle of a scene investigation, I guess you call it. Two criminals have escaped the chain gang and ended up killing some cops while in their escape. And Nick Nolte, Jack, is in the middle of trying to look for these guys. And while they're looking for them, they find them in a hotel and they kill two more cops. So two guys that were actually just working with Jack, and they get away. And I guess I'll describe who they were. Actually, the main bad guys, the escaped convicts, are Albert Gans, who's played by James Remar, a really good actor. He was in The Warriors as well, and more recently, probably recognize him from Dexter, plays Dexter's dad in that TV show. A couple other things. And the other guy with him is Billy Bear. He's played by Sonny Landham. It was really interesting to see him because he played a character named Billy in Predator. So I'd never really actually seen him in anything else. So those are the two escaped convicts, Billy Bear and Albert Gans. And Albert's kind of the more the mastermind of this whole thing. So Jack is fuming after he gets attacked by these guys and ends up killing two of his other partners. Not really partners, but coworkers, cops. One of them actually is played by Jonathan Banks, who is from Breaking Bad. What's his name in Breaking Bad? Mike. Played Mike in Breaking Bad. So it's interesting to see him when he's young. He looks pretty different. So they have, where the title comes from, 48 Hours. Jack is getting one of Albert's old accomplices, old criminal buddies, and that, of course, ends up being Reggie Hammond. So he gets him out of jail to help find him, and Reggie wants to find Albert as well because he's pissed at him, and he's just apparently not all around a pretty bad guy. So they have 48 hours. That's how long Jack can have Reggie out of jail to help him. That's also what they do. They go and they try to find Albert and get him. And then eventually, like, some more of the plot unfolds. What they did together was a robbery. So Albert's trying to get the money. And, of course, Reggie wants to keep it. And he doesn't want him to get it as well. So they're both trying to get to those same point. They both want the money. And there's another guy in there also named Luther, played by David Patrick Kelly, who was also in The Warriors and Twin Peaks, among other things. I think he's in The Crow as well. And Luther's kind of the in-between guy, so he's the person that Albert found first and told Luther that he has to get him the money. And he's holding his girlfriend hostage. And then that's kind of also who Jack and Reggie follow to get to Albert. So that's the story. Not much else to it. It's kind of a buddy cop movie, except they're not cops. One of them's a criminal, and Nick Nolte's the cop. Jack is the cop. But Reggie ends up being pretty good at doing detective work as well. And that's where he kind of makes a bet with him and stuff. That's one of his famous quotes, is when he does that. And so it's a comedy, but being a Walter Hill movie, it's rated R, and I was kind of surprised. It's not super violent, but violent enough. Some of the shootouts are pretty realistic. There's one in particular where Billy Bear shoots somebody, either one of the cops or somebody gets shot, and he doesn't have a shirt on, and it's pretty effective. It's bear skin getting shot, and they don't really cut away from it. I saw that and I was like, ooh, it's pretty realistic. So it's good. There's swearing, violence, a little bit of nudity, not a bunch, but it's rated R for a reason. It's funny. I thought it was funny. I'm kind of in the camp of where I've seen Beverly Hills Cop so much. I think that's kind of one of the reasons I hadn't seen this is because, well, I've seen Beverly Hills Cop and I thought it'd be a little bit of a retread, which is unfortunate because this came out first, and I thought I read that either Walter Hill or Eddie Murphy, they were kind of upset that Beverly Hills Cops was just kind of reused the whole idea, and it was kind of the same premise. And it was a little bit darker in tone. Beverly Hills Cop is pretty upbeat. It's Eddie Murphy's being a lot funnier in Beverly Hills Cop. In this, he's a bit more serious, and he's a criminal in it, so he's a little bit of a more shifty of a character. So yeah, also remind me, of course, the '80s Lethal Weapon. So you kind of have the Mel Gibson, Danny Glover dynamic going on as Eddie Murphy, Nick Nolte. Of course, they're both cops again, and so this is different than most of those because Eddie Murphy's not a cop. I guess there's another one that comes to mind a little bit as what was it, Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin, Midnight Run. I haven't seen that, but I know it has a bit of a similar premise. I'll write that down so I don't forget as a connection. And so it's good. I'm giving it a pretty good rating, 3.5 out of 5. And I definitely say check it out. I don't know. It took me this long to see it. We'll see how long it takes me to get to the follow-up, another 48 hours. I think that's directed by Walter Hill as well. So yeah, actually, I guess one of the big things, this is what's really kickstarted Eddie Murphy's career as a feature film actor, and then he blew up, This made him a household name, and then he did, Trading Places, Coming to America, eventually Beverly Hills Cop. So this is really what made him, and so people could take him a little bit more serious as an actor. I think it probably actually helped that it's more of a darker role, so people could take him serious. And also, I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100%, I didn't look at Nick Nolte's films real closely before this, but I think this really restarted his career too. He had some movies before and everything, but then this gave it a pretty good jolt, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, good one to check out. If you're interested in a comedy, an 80s comedy, so a darker comedy, I guess. I liked it. Not too much more to say. I think a lot of people have probably seen it by this point, but yeah, definitely check it out. Worth the watch. It's on Netflix right now, so you can just throw it on. And it's not that long, actually, I don't think either. Yep, 96 minutes, so good hour and a half. So I think that'll be it for this one. Kind of not the greatest review, but a lot of people are probably familiar with this movie anyway. So I guess for my sign off, I'd say there's a new sheriff in town named Reggie Hammond. Right on.